A ship longer than a football field, floating silently above the ocean, carrying fighter planes inside its own body, built by the United States Navy during a time when airplanes were still primitive, and yet engineered to act like a flying warship. This was not science fiction. This was the USS Akron. After World War I, the United States Navy faced a problem. The Pacific Ocean was too vast for early aircraft to scout efficiently. Warships were powerful, but blind beyond the horizon. Radar did not exist yet. Satellite surveillance was science fiction. The Navy needed long-range reconnaissance, fleet scouting ability, and early warning system, so they turned to a radical idea. If ships cannot see far enough, then the sky itself must become the ship. The USS Akron was designed under the direction of the United States Navy. The project was heavily influenced by Admiral William A. Moffett, head of the U.S. Bureau of Aeronautics. To build it, the Navy partnered with the German Zeppelin Company, led by engineers who had already mastered rigid airship design. Germany provided the expertise. America provided the funding. The result was a hybrid of European engineering and American military ambition. The USS Akron was not just large, it was colossal. Length, 239 meters, diameter, 40.5 meters, volume, around 184,000 cubic meters of helium, maximum speed, around 130 kilometers per hour, crew, up to 76 men if placed on a modern runway. It would stretch longer than 2 Boeing 747s combined. Inside the Akron was one of the most extraordinary inventions in aviation history, a flying hangar bay. The airship carried up to 5 Curtiss F-9C Sparrowhawk fighter aircraft. These small fighter planes were stored inside the belly of the airship. They were launched using a mechanical trapeze system. A steel arm would lower the aircraft beneath the airship. The pilot would start the engine while suspended in mid-air, then release and fly independently. For recovery, the fighter would approach from below, hook onto the trapeze, and be pulled back inside. In theory, the USS Akron was not just an aircraft, it was a mobile air base.
We were rescued by the German tanker Phoebus and are the sole survivors. Just before the accident to the Akron, I was in the control car on the left side of the control car.
Construction began in 1929 in Akron, Ohio, the city that gave the airship its name. Materials: duralumin, light aluminum alloy framework, helium gas, rare and expensive at the time, fabric outer skin treated for durability. Building the USS Akron required millions of rivets, thousands of structural beams, entire factory-scale assembly halls, specialized helium production and transport logistics. Cost: approximate historical estimate, around $5 million in 1930s. Money, equivalent to over $100 million today. Rough estimate: helium was extremely rare and controlled almost entirely by the United States. Unlike hydrogen, helium was non-flammable, but difficult to extract and store in massive quantities. Despite its brilliance, the USS Akron had a fatal weakness. Its enormous surface area made it vulnerable to wind shear and downdrafts. Unlike airplanes, it could not dive out of turbulence quickly. In 1933, meteorology was still primitive. Storms could not be accurately tracked over oceans. On April 3, 1933, the Akron encountered a severe Atlantic storm off the coast of New Jersey. Winds intensified rapidly. The airship was caught in strong downdrafts, invisible columns of sinking air. The Akron began to lose altitude uncontrollably. The crew attempted ballast adjustments, but the descent accelerated. At approximately midnight, the USS Akron struck the ocean surface. Of the 76 crew members on board, only 3 survived. The airship carried almost no life-saving equipment for ocean crashes because it was never designed to land on water. Today, the USS Akron is remembered as both a masterpiece and a warning. It proved that humans could build flying giants, but also that innovation without environmental understanding can lead to disaster. Somewhere beneath the Atlantic, the remains of the USS Akron still rest in silence, a forgotten giant that once tried to rule the sky. Thank you for watching. See you soon in the next video.